Hello, I'm Thomas Musing, Gallaudet University alumnus, class of 2014, and I'm just gonna make this video because it is uh, it's explaining my experience with the university honors program. So I attended Gallaudet University on a dedicated full 4-year merit scholarship, uh, and um, and I took the two first year um, dedicated honors courses. Um, First year seminar, which was taught by Dr. Jerry Lynn Dorminey and Dr. Jeffrey Whitebread. In fall 2010, I got hit by a car on November 24th, 2010, and got a C in that class. And so, as part of that class, and I also failed GSR 103 with Dr. Eugene Myris. And so, because of that, I was not allowed to continue in the honors program. Nevertheless, I was registered for the second first-year honors program, GSR 150H, with the Reverend, with Dr. Jennifer Nelson, who you'll see here, and Dr. Kirk Van Gilder, who you'll see here. These people are directly responsible for my creation and transformation as an academic, and for really showing me what is possible for me as a deaf person and as a disabled person. During that semester with them, I had a vitreous hemorrhage and was left blind, and so I took not one but two incompletes, and I finished them. And I also took a class during the summer school, and the only reason I did that was not only to stay on track for getting my degree on time. I also needed to take a class or do an internship in order to stay on campus. So, this is a letter addressed to Jennifer Nelson and Kirk Van Gilder, who are the honors director and the assistant director now. And I will link in the iCard and in the description below their honors curriculum that I voiced over. This was done in June 2024. I haven't heard back from them, and I don't think I will. But it is a pretty concise summary of everything that happened to me at Gallaudet. And so I feel I need to get this out on the air. Okay, so Drs. Nelson and Van Gilder. First, I'd like to wish the Reverend Dr. Kirk Van Gilder happy birthday. The honors program at Gallaudet was a key part of my time at the university. While I was on tour for the Academic World Competition in 2010, I met your predecessors, Honors Director Shirley Myers and Program Coordinator or Specialist, their synonym, Jeffrey Whitebread, on or around April 28, 2010. I was name-checked in Lyceum, the honors program's official newsletter, in either its 8th or 9th edition, as Dr. Myers congratulated herself for taking the initiative to include an automatic door open button for the honors lounge. So I use a power chair in the community, and yeah. So, after meeting your predecessors, I shared writing samples, interviewed with Dr. Whitebread, and was accepted into the Bridge program. and under a Bridge to Honors program. Now, under this program, I was actually not supposed to be eligible for my scholarship my first semester, but nevertheless, I was improperly awarded it, and um I'm very grateful for that. I certainly lost it the second semester, and then my dad paid for my tuition the second semester as well as summer school, and I also didn't have I had Ohio Medicaid, um, uh, but that was not qualifying insurance, so he paid for Gallaudet student health insurance for the gap period from the time I was on campus, which was August 22nd or 23rd, 2010, to October 1st, 2010, and on or around October 1st, 2010, I got my first Medicare card, which was on my mother's Social Security benefits. Um, Additionally, and I'll go back to the letter here. Additionally, I was awarded a full merit scholarship without which I couldn't have attended. As someone admitted to Bridge, I explained I was expected to participate fully, including in the honors retreat. Alas, because there was no coordination between the honors program and disability services, I couldn't go. It appears that you still require an honors retreat attendance for first-year students. Although I'm not going to matriculate to the university, as the fact that its global STEM science conference didn't have any information on how to request accommodations until I reached out to the team, this still tells me that accessibility for disabilities, other than hearing loss, is an afterthought, not the priority that it should be, and is required to be by law. Out of concern for your time and respect for you both, I'm only attaching the pertinent email thread. I'm not including any university administrators, as I found them to be dishonest and mealy-mouthed at best. I can, of course, provide citations for all claims in this email. You've trained me well. Because this email concerns the honors program generally, I'm including the general honors program email, which is honors@gallaudet.edu. The summer prior to my arrival, in addition to the honors retreat not being accessible to me, there was confusion about what to take as I placed out of Dr. Nelson's GSR 102H course. Dr. Myers never got back to me, even though Dr. Whitebread said she would. This was Mr. Whitebread at this time. I was briefly registered for Dr. Kristen Harmon's English 399 course, but that course was dropped at the last minute. I see the honors program now requires all to take a dedicated 175H course in lieu of any other additional composition courses. Of outstanding concern is that the two dedicated honors courses are still not listed as such on my transcript. The registrar has mentioned she had an idea, but I haven't heard back from her. Regardless, these courses are noted as honors courses on teachers' courses taught sections on their faculty web pages on the Gallaudet website. Students who take them should have their extra work acknowledged. Unless, of course, participation in general studies honors courses really did just serve as a little club for the previous honors director to make friends and recruit faculty. My advisors at other institutions have noted my AP score for the Government 110 course and asked if I did any dedicated honors coursework. I've told them yes, it would be good if this could be reflected on my official academic record. Dr. Nelson, this past summer at some point, you blocked me on Facebook shortly after I added that I attended Gallaudet on an honors scholarship and listed the courses I took. Was this your decision alone, or were you bullied into doing it? A few months after I met with the board, I emailed them some of my experiences of accessibility challenges in university housing and let them know that I thought you were bullied into what to discuss with former students on social media and thought that this wasn't professional. Out of an abundance of caution, I also blocked Dr. Van Gilder. I sent him a birthday greeting many years ago, but as I blocked him, I can't spread the word about your current honor student research, and I do know many people for whom it may be applicable. I'm curious if I'm welcome to attend capstone presentations, as the ones I've read from the university library and seen on YouTube are very good. I am no longer a persona non grata, and while I will stay away from Dr. Whitebread, I am not a danger to anyone as long as the university and honors program do not regard power chairs, walkers, and other mobility aids as public safety risks. Dr. Van Gilder, and then I include an aside to Dr. Nelson. Dr. Nelson, please give Xander my regards. He's still on my watch. I love that little guy. Xander is Dr. Nelson's cat. Dr. Van Gilder, I wish to address you specifically for a moment. We both remember my iatrogenic boundary violation when I was institutionalized at St. Elizabeth's Hospital. In an email a week later, you mentioned that you assumed I'd heard you'd talk to the social work team. In fact, I had inconsistent access to team meetings because the hospital didn't always provide me with ASL interpreters for groups as an accommodation for my deafness because I can speak. It really concerns me if your view of me is permanently tarnished because of conduct I engaged in an abusive, negligent environment after being violently sexually assaulted and threatened with chemical castration. Nevertheless, I can prove that I was a straight-A student of yours, including finishing an incomplete while recovering from blindness and taking a summer school class so I could stay on campus. I accidentally included you rather than a clinician on an email on November 14, 2011 after Dr. Meyer's power trip temper tantrum led me to check myself into the Washington Hospital Center for an anxiety attack. And just for the record, Dr. Myers screamed that I should talk to Jeff, her assistant, and I did make an appointment with him via email on November 14, 2011, and I do have that email, and that email confirmation, so I was in the hospital at that time. So the next semester I started telling you during one of our last walks together a little bit about what had happened. You said you didn't need to know the details, but I beg you to read the analysis and supporting thread. What happened to me was undeniably homophobic mobbing and abuse by your predecessors. I know your temperament and training in seminary preclude you from bullying students. That notwithstanding, I do think your decision to completely dissociate from me, if that is truly your decision, is rash and motivated by the attitudes of homophobic social workers at St. Elizabeth's Hospital. There seems to be a problem endemic and specific to Gallaudet University of an inability to differentiate between personal and professional relationships, whether it be through Dr. Myers creating Dr. Whitebread's first position in 2004, Dr. Eugene Myers' decision to get drunk with my fellow undergraduate students at an on-campus bar, or Dr. Myers' decision to force me to share about my private life and history of domestic violence after flirting with another male student in 2012 in a thread in which I admit to academic dishonesty after walking on eggshells for months. These problems cause dysfunction in the university's primary mission of higher education of deaf, hard of hearing students. Previous Hillel director saying that Paula Tucker, previous Hillel director saying that the student that I flirted with was a postgraduate student, but Dr. Myers saying he was actually an undergraduate student may be a FERPA violation. The stonewalling of the Office of Student Conduct and Dean Travis Immel's dishonesty around disciplinary issues to me and to my member of Congress's staffer, including missing a statutory FERPA record deadline, is unprofessional and possibly unlawful. This failure to maintain appropriate boundaries led to me being hospitalized for acute anxiety from November 14th to November 18th, 2011, panic from January 31st, 2012 to February 15th, 2012, and being institutionalized at St. Elizabeth's Hospital for almost the entirety of 2012, and a group home in Shoreline, Washington, for 5 months of 2013. During this time, I was subject to negligence, abuse, and medical malpractice. I allege an actual crime happened. My father committed Social Security fraud by siphoning all of my supplemental security income and Social Security disability insurance money, telling the hospital I'd been expelled from Gallaudet, even though, in fact, I was placed on interim suspension, yet telling the bank I was still a student at Gallaudet. I reported this on January 20th, 2017, to the Social Security, on January 12th and January 20th, 2017, to the Social Security fraud hotline after recovering from cataract surgery. On advice of counsel, I contacted my member of Congress about this. This crime would likely not have happened had your predecessors maintained appropriate teacher-student boundaries. Finally, I'm concerned that I have nothing to show for my 2 years at Gallaudet, long enough to get an associate's degree. I don't have proof of my dedicated honors courses. I could have got a few masters or a doctorate in the amount of time the university stonewalled me. And to be clear, from the time that I was admitted to the time that everything was cleared up was over 9 years. Whom can I contact to see if some sort of degree can be conferred for my time? Why can't I have the H's noted on my transcript? Why did the current honors director block me after I publicly posted the honors that I took honors courses and attended on an honors scholarship? Please let me know answers to these questions within 30 days. Otherwise, I think there are novel issues about the university and its honors program, and I'll reach out to my member of Congress again for assistance with these issues again. I'm going to forward this email and any replies either you or the university send to my vocational rehabilitation counselor. You both are the scholars who are responsible for my transformation from a loner to a serious-minded academic. If I become an academic physiatrist, it'll be on your academic shoulders I stand. Before I forget, Dr. Nelson, I learned of the faculty reunion from the Deaf News sources and of your membership and leadership from its website. Sorry I didn't answer more directly in Facebook Messenger when you asked. I sure hope you both will see fit to respond to this meaningfully and officially. I'm proud, privileged, and indebted to have been your student. During my time institutionalized, I was described on bank records as being a student on a Gallaudet. My student status in the medical records is variously described, and your relationship to me was always as friend. I do hope there's no animosity between us. You created me as an academic. You taught me the research and writing skills that went into the composition, research, and public and eventual forthcoming publication of my first medical and scientific manuscript. And unlike Dr. Van Gilder's predecessor with his honors thesis on science stuttering, I did not need to ask a speech-language pathologist how to research. You will both be listed in my first publications and acknowledgments. Thank you for your time in reading this and for being my teachers. I'm proud of all I learned from you, even if you're ashamed to have taught and known me. I wish both of you the best. Dr. Nelson, I hope I can commission you to paint something when I buy my house in D.C. Now, I've requested a couple of papers for their class for DSR 150H. For DSR 150H, along with approximate dates that I submitted them. I still have not gotten them from the Office of General Counsel, even though it is my right, it is my intellectual property, and I do retain my right to retain and assert my right to my intellectual property. And, I don't have access to, I asked for a copy of a paper that I wrote for English 208. I still have not received that. And that is also my intellectual property. The university also has a policy that requires that employees register their service animals. I feel like I should double check this, but as of a couple of weeks ago, hang on, I'll make sure that this is true. Before I say it. But from November 8th, 2010 until July 2021, I think, the university unlawfully required that that students and visitors, employees, everything like that, that they register their service animals with the Department of Public Safety. That's not allowed, and I just looked up as part of their university. So I'm reading directly from the university service animal policy. University employees who university employees who require a service animal as a reasonable accommodation as defined by the ADA in a university office or other university facility not open to the general public may bring their service animal to their place of employment if the animal's work or tasks are necessary to afford the employee equal opportunity to perform the functions of their job. The employees should register their service animal with the CAAL in advance of the service animal being brought to campus or accessing the employee's work setting. I don't believe that that's legal, but I also am not an attorney. But I was raised by one. So I am going to link the I'm going to link in the iCard. I'm going to link in the iCard and in the description below a video about the Gallaudet University Honors Curriculum with the English voiceover interpreted by me. I will also put in the description box sources for the citations for the claims that I made about. I'll put the link to the old service animal policy. I'll put the link to the current service animal policy as of today is July 11th, 2025. And I'll post a link to Dr. Myers, Dr. Shirley Myers. Dr. Shirley Myers is right here. Dr. Shirley Myers was the old honor director that made me talk about my personal history because I flirted with this student who he donated his diploma to the university in after he graduated, and so that's how I'm able to verify, and I'm also able to verify that he graduated with university honors. And yeah, I medically withdrew from the school on March 18th, 2012, and that was not noted on my university transcript until that was not noted on my university transcript until June, I think 28th or 29th, 2019. Let's see. I took GSR 101H with Jeff Whitebread, whose picture is right here. I took it. He co-taught it with Jerry Lynn Dormany, whose picture is right here. And then I took my academic mommy and daddy are Jennifer Nelson and Kirk Van Gilder, and I have a picture of them with the current provost, previous dean of faculty, Khadijat Rashid. And I'm hoping that I don't have to go to hire an attorney to get my intellectual property. Honestly, I think I made this video just to communicate this history concisely. Thank you to the Rev Captioner for making this quicker to get through. For the people that are watching this video, I will also include a link in the description to Dr. Myers' old video. Dr. Myers' old biography, where she acknowledges, where she says that she's most proud of creating Mr. Whitebread's role. I'm going to include Mr. Whitebread's old biography, in which he says that he started working at the university in 2004, and then in 2011 he was awarded a 5-year service award from Human Resources. So it's unclear whether or not he actually officially started getting a paycheck in either 2004 or 2006. And I will include citations in the description below for Dr. Whitebread's undergraduate honors thesis, which I read a published version of, and it was in the previous chapter. It was the chapter before my citation, before the research that I used in my scientific manuscript. So I just took, let's just read through this. And I read through the entire book because it's about my first language. And then I'll also include in the citation for this, Dr. Greg Snyder was the speech-language pathologist who Mr. Whitebread did the reference interview with. But as you can see in his honors thesis that's publicly available, Mr. Whitebread did not cite Dr. Snyder as a reference.